film. I'd like to welcome our new councillors, and as I read your names out, would you kindly stand up so we can all have a good look at you? Mark Ashworth. Nikki Jerome. Chris Smith. And Bill Soane. Before we move on to the election of mayor for the next period, I like to say that there is an expression that goes, time flies when you're having fun. And if you would allow me to interpret the word fun in its broadest sense, then the past year, serving as Wokingham Borough Mayor has flown by. It has been a great honour to hold the office of Borough Mayor, and I have endeavoured to serve the residents of Wokingham and this council to the best of my ability. As well as the many usual mayoral engagements, I have welcomed a number of royal and ministerial visitors to the borough during the past year to officially open projects, including a new railway station, a new medical centre, and a new sports pavilion, all of which will further strengthen our claim that Wokingham is a nice place in which to live. I have taken full advantage of my office in order to promote and raise the profile of our borough, and in this connection, I am particularly proud of firstly encouraging and then bringing together local charity organizations and local businesses so that the charities might benefit from the expertise of business organizations and hopefully make them less reliant on local government support. Our pilot matching event in March was a great success, but more remains to be done. Finally, I should like to thank my deputy, Chris Singleton, for his support throughout the year, and to the CEO, Vic Aldrich, and the many council officers who have guided and helped me to carry out my duties. Thank you very much. May I now ask for nominations for mayor? Councillor Stanton, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I now wish to make a proposal for mayor. This is the second year that I have proposed one Eula Karin Clark, the very important and prestigious role of mayor of the borough. And it appears from what you just said, Eula Karin, that you've had some fun as well. So that's great. Members, by nominating Councillor Clark, or my good friend Eula Karin, for this role for the second time, you should read into that my total support for Eula Karin based on the fact that she has performed this role last year in a very professional and dignified manner. She has carried out this role and fought it huge respect. That is clear to me as a result of a couple of events that I have attended with her during the year, and the support that she has, particularly in the all-important voluntary sector, which she has given sterling service to. So very well done. She takes this role very seriously, attending a very high number of events in support of residents. And that is very hard work, but always done with a professional touch and a good speech. She also chairs this council gathering very well, which cannot be easy, particularly when one last December is a Christmas school, and I saw a slightly different side of Eula Kari. But she kept order in a very difficult situation, and well done and a brilliant performance that was. I am delighted and indeed privileged to propose Eula Kari Clark to be the Mayor for the next municipal year, 2014-15, and ask for the total support of this council chamber in that appointment. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your kind words. Do you have a second then?
I do.
There's not much to add to that very clear statement from Rob Stanton, but it would give me great pleasure as an ex-mayor, having seen what you have done over the last year, to second this proposal. You speak about fun. I can share times at rugby matches and on zip wires at Dinton, where clearly you were having fun. But on the more serious side, Rob has touched on, so it gives me very great pleasure to second the proposal.
Thank you very much.
Then can I ask all those in favour of the nomination of Councillor Eula Clark for Mayor to show? Thank you. Against? Then I'm very happy to announce that Councillor Eula Clark elected as Mayor of Woking Borough Council for the 2014-15 municipal year. Congratulations.
I, Ulla Karin Clark, having been elected to the office of Mayor of Woking Borough Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfill the duties of it, according to the best of my judgment and ability. Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, I am honoured to have been elected to serve a second time as Woking Borough Mayor. I learned a lot during my first year, and I intend to make full use of this knowledge in my second year. As a council, we have much to do, not least in pushing forward with the regeneration of Woking Town Centre. And as Mayor and Chairman of the Council, I shall do all I can to promote all work of the Council and ensure that the favourable profile of Woking Borough shall remain at its present high level with our residents in our local press and within the local area. I look forward very much to the next 12 months, and I should like to assure you all that I shall do everything I can to justify the confidence you have shown in electing me to serve a second term as Mayor. Thank you very much. May I now nominate my Deputy Mayor? I have asked Perry Bath to be my Deputy Mayor, and I would like a seconder for that, please. Thank you, Councillor Halsall. Any other nominations, please? Thank you. I have chosen Harry because I think he will be a good representative of our council. He has, as a matter of fact, shown great interest in the role of mayor in the last year, turning up at events and supported me indirectly with his presence. So he has a good idea what it means to be mayor and to be deputy mayor. Councillor Holzer, would you like to say something?
It is my honour to second my friend Harry as Deputy Mayor, who has been a great privilege to get to know, an excellent councillor, a competent deputy group leader, and a very nice and caring person.
All those in favour of electing Councillor Bath, please show. Thank you. Anyone against? Thank you very much. I therefore declare that Councillor Harry Bath is elected as Deputy Mayor for Woking Borough Council for the 2014-15 municipal year. Councillor Bath, would you like to come forward, please?
Maybe a handshake. That's it. Maybe just close the gap. There you go. This way, big smiles. There you go. One more big smiles. Thank you very much.
Before she takes a seat, I'd like to thank Anne-Marie for all her help over the last year. Here we are. She doesn't like this at all.
Have a big smile. There we go. One more, keep smiling there, ladies. Thank you very much. Sure.
I, Harry Bath, having been elected to the office of Deputy Mayor of Woking Borough Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. Your Worship, thank you. Fellow members, thank you for your wonderful support in the run-up to my nomination and my subsequent election. I will endeavour to serve with pride and humbleness, acting as an ambassador for Wokingham Borough Council within the wider community and business world within the borough. One of my forthcoming appointments is to have dinner with the Bishop of Reading, where I will represent Wokingham Borough Council with great pride. I will spread the ambassadorial message of the Council's priority that Wokingham Borough is a great place to live and even a better place to do business. I look forward to serving as Deputy Mayor over the next 12 months, sharing and enjoying the borough's mayoral duties. Most importantly, as Deputy Mayor, I will be on a steep learning curve. I will be learning from our wonderful Mayor, Councillor Ulla Clark, throughout the next 12 months. Your Worship, I look for your support, guidance and mentoring. You have already taught me to have fun while performing my role. I will do exactly that. And once again, thanks to all of you.
I would like your approval to confirm the minutes of the meeting of the council held on the 29th of March 2014. Councillor Lee?
That's why I was just agreeing with you, yes.
That's fine. I will sign those then. Thank you. Do we have any apologies for absence?
Okay, Madam Mayor, I have apologies from Councillor Hayton-Taylor, Councillor Rowland, Councillor McGee-Sumner and Councillor Smith, Councillor Chopping and Councillor Ray, and apologies from Councillor McCann, who may be a little late.
Any declarations of interest? At this point, ladies and gentlemen, not councillors, if you would like to leave, you are free to do so. You're very welcome to stay. Coming over to public question time, and I call on Clive Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Firstly, with your permission, could I thank the outgoing leader of the council for the courteous way that he has conducted public question time in the last 6 years. Although you may not have welcomed all of the questions, you've always dealt with them in a very courteous and correct manner. So thank you very much for that. I have no doubt that your successor will do the same. I'd like to be the first member of the public in the council chamber to congratulate Keith on his new position. And I wish you well in your new role. So now to my question. Recently on BBC Radio Berkshire, the then leader of the council guaranteed that there would be a new secondary school open in the Arborfield area by September 2016. Will Keith Baker confirm that when he is elected leader, it will still be the council's policy to open a new secondary school in Arborfield by September 2016, and that he supports the guarantee given by his predecessor?
Thank you, Clive. Just before I I've got a very short answer for you, but just before I do make that, I do want to make a comment that I'm very, very disappointed that members of the SOW group, particularly Mrs. Purchase, aren't here. I had extensive correspondence with her, an email on the 31st of May, the 2nd of June, the 3rd of June, and the 6th of June, when I actually gave her the guarantee that you're asking for. So the answer is yes. I did actually also suggest to Mrs. Purchase that because she got that guarantee, which is what the question was all about, that she would withdraw those questions. And she chose that not to do that, but instead chose not to turn up here. I just think that is an interesting way of conducting business on something that's extremely serious. So the answer is yes, I give that guarantee.
Do you have
Just a very quick answer, maybe not question, but thank you very much for that assurance.
Richard Heath, anything?
Do you want to take the question as read, Keith?
Thank you, Richard. Bottom line is really you're asking for confirmation or comfort over the 4 issues. As I said, this school is my highest priority. I've given that guarantee. That project is continuing at exactly the same pace as before. There's been no change. And I've left instructions to the relevant officers that if anything's in the way, I need to be contacted because I want to move the roadblocks. The Arborfield Relief Road, as you know, I'm currently still the executive member who made that decision. I can tell you now I'm not going to go back on my word. On the other 2, the high-speed internet and the post office, these are 2 personal commitments from your councillor Gary Cowan, which have the full backing of this council. To this end, we're working with both officers, and more importantly, your MP John River, to make this happen.
Do you have a supplementary?
Yes. The site for the school, the current site on the SDL, according to the phasing plan that has been issued by the developer previously, isn't going to be available until after 2016. Can you give an assurance that if the school, as Stephen said, is going to be built open on its permanent site in September 2016, that we're not going to get something else, for example, more houses put on the site within the SDL boundary if the school is built outside that boundary?
Clearly, you're now talking about detail, but obviously land has to be available in order to meet the deadline. I don't know that detail, but the relevant officers will get back to you specifically. But we have to have land because you can't get school.
Thank you very much. Jenny Simon, please.
Thank you. I didn't realise that Philip was going to be answering this question, but you're the person who's got it. I'd like to ask a question standing in my name, please.
Thank you, Jenny. Neither did I at the time, but the answer is this, and I hope you can follow it. The council was not party to the original transaction and has no records that can shed light on this issue. It's our understanding, though, that the process by which former local education authorities, such as Berkshire County Council athletes, transferred to university and college ownership, is one in which no money changed hand. Section 126 of the 1988 Education Reform Act transferred ownership of property used by a higher education institution, such as Beaumarsh College of Higher Education, to the institution from the Education Authority without compensation, immediate or deferred. Any subsequent change to a higher education institution, such as a merger with a university, will lead to the transfer of land to the new institution. Since the original statutory transfer was unconditional, the higher education institution, or any successor body, is free to sell the land without any obligation to make a payment to the local education authority, be this the original council or any successor authority.
Do you have a supplement?
Given that Reading University appear to have got a very good deal, why did this council give them an even better deal by going against its own policy and give them permission to build 38 houses on a playing field in the site of urban landscape value between Early and Woodley?
I will have to come back to you. Thank you.
Now, I have a list of people who have said they would like to come and ask questions. And I'm going to read out their names just to ensure that they are not here. Paul Townsend, Jill Purchase, Tim Brooke, Helen Church, Vicky Hallowell, Jeff Bufton, Simon Jones, Joel Blackwood, Claire Hickman. Since they appear not to be here, they will receive a reply, a written reply to their questions. Agenda item 7, report of the returning officer. May I have a proposer, please?
Thank you, Member. I'd like to propose the report as stated.
And we have a seconder. Thank you. Do you want to speak? Mr. Stanford?
I think the report's pretty self-explanatory. I'd just like to thank Andrew and the officers for a well-run election. I think it was exceptionally smooth, and I look forward to many more running such a standard, being that it's Andrew's first election, at least his first big one. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Stanton, do you wish to say anything?
Wouldn't be me if I didn't, I guess. No, the report is as stand. I support what Paul has said. I think I'll just take the opportunity to welcome the new members and those that will come back. So, thank you very much.
Does anybody else like to speak? Councillor Craig, please.
Just very briefly to add to Pauline's statement to congratulate Andrew and all the electoral services staff on a well-run set of elections, and particularly Andrew must be giving a huge sigh of relief having come through it unscathed.
Thank you. All those in favour, please. Anyone against? Any abstentions? Okay, so the vote is called. Now, Mayor's announcement. I only have one announcement, and that is that, as we usually do after the annual council, I invite you to have drinks in the room next door after the council meeting. So I hope you will come and celebrate with me. Agenda item 9, election of the leader of the council. May I have nominations, please? Councillor Lee.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I would like to nominate my colleague Keith Baker to the position of leader of this council for the forthcoming period. Keith has served this council very well in the position of highways and planning. He used to think that he had to know all about highways and planning. He will have to know about absolutely everything tomorrow morning. And I wish him all the very best with that. So, having experienced that for 7 years, Keith has vast experience and also has produced some marvellous things for this borough. I would just like to mention 3 of them, and that is we've got 6 new roads coming, which we've never had for the last 30 years. The first one, Keith assures me, will be open tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Is that correct, Keith? Or sometime shortly thereafter. And I would like to thank whoever it was, by the way, came up with that excellent wall, the green wall running down there. It looks really tremendous. I think Keith has also done a lot of work in protecting this borough from the inappropriate development we saw being imposed on us under the last government, especially my good friend Mr. Prescott. And also we've got better car parking now at new housing. The way that John Prescott thought we would deal with getting people onto public transport was to not allow us to build car parking. So I'm delighted that Keith has steered us through that, and I wish him all the very best for the future. Keith, I know that you will make a great leader. You've got the experience, the talent for it, and I wish you all the very best. And I'm sure that you will continue to ensure that this borough remains as one of the best places in this country to live. So I'm delighted to nominate Keith Baker for the position of leader.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Goddard, would you like to say?
Yes, I would. Thank you very much. I was reflecting when I first met Keith. I must have been on the campaign trail somewhere in Woodley or early, back in the sort of about 10 years ago, I'd expect. And I'm thinking, as I was reflecting coming back from London today, the change that's taken place in that part of Woodley and early in the last 10 years. the work that he's done, the late Chris Edmonds. I was reflecting, obviously miss him not being here, but many members of my political party are now here in this council because of the work that he and others have done in that for the last 10 years. So I'm looking forward to that continuing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, according to the rules, we only vote if anyone objects. Do we have any objections? No. Well, Councillor Bacon? And I assume you now would like to speak?
Can I reserve it to when I do the leader's statement?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes. I'm sorry, we're just in the clarification.
Do apologise.
You don't have to speak, of course.
What was it Rob said? Yeah, I'm just wondering if I didn't. I've only been 30 seconds into this job, so give me a break. I just start off with an anecdote, picking up something that David Lee said about my wanting to understand fully about highways and planning, and now I've got to understand it all. I had a conversation recently with a very good friend of mine who constantly is berating me about potholes. And I try to help her, and the other day she said that she saw the news, and oh damn it, I'm not going to be able to start having a go at you about potholes. So I quickly returned and said, actually now you can have a go at me at anything in the council. First of all, I'd like to thank my colleagues for electing me as the new leader of the council, a council that is highly innovative, dynamic and very cost effective. As you know, we are the lowest funded council in the land. Where did that come from, I wonder? My many thanks go to David Lee, the outgoing leader. Over the last 6 years, he has guided this council through very difficult times and achieved so much. I consider myself privileged to have been alongside him during this period, and he'll be a hard act to follow. Whilst my style of leadership is different than David's, the core thrust of this council will remain largely unchanged. First of all, I'd also like to congratulate you, Madam Mayor, for being elected for a second term. The last year you have managed this chamber in a very fair and professional manner, stern where needed, but generally with a light touch. It is easy to forget that your role is not just controlling us, it's not just for controlling us, but is the public face of the whole council. I'd like to thank you on behalf of us all for the excellent way you have represented the council at countless public events throughout the year. You have even been highly innovative with the voluntary sector speed dating, and I hope many marriages have come directly from this. I would also like to thank the retiring Deputy Mayor, Chris Singleton, on his tireless support of you. This role is often underestimated because the Mayor is always in the limelight, but it is an essential part of the mayoral activities. And I'd like to congratulate Parry Bath on taking this role. After every election, we generally say goodbye to councillors and say hello to new ones. I'd like to just mention one particular person, Sam Ramooni, who is no longer here. He was a long-standing member of this chamber and always conducted himself with integrity and brought a degree of humour to the chamber. I wish him well for the future, now that he's got his life back. As some leave, others come in, and I'd like to make a personal welcome to Nikki, Mark, Chris and Bill as newcomers to this chamber. Welcome to a world which will be baffling at first, always difficult to understand and sometimes a bear pit. Do not get overly concerned, as you'll soon get into the swing of things and there is plenty of advice around you, mostly conflicting. At this stage, the leader would normally announce his deputy leader executive in their respective roles. Due to the lateness of the local elections, driven by the 2-week delay forced upon us by the European elections, I'm not in a position to reveal my plans. So until I complete my restructuring, the current executive, obviously minus David, the deputy leader and deputies will continue in their current role. I will continue to look after strategic planning and highways. I aim to bring to the July council meeting an outcome of my restructuring. This will include obviously passing on my portfolio to someone else. Part of my efforts will be to reduce the total cost of the Special Responsibility Allowances, or SRA, by 10%. I know Councillor Bray and our colleagues are passionate believers in reducing this cost, if you believe the stuff in their, they put in their election material. So I call on her to match this 10% reduction in the SRA allocation to the opposition. Time to literally put your money where your mouth is. Over this last year, Councillor Bray and colleagues made great play about the town centre regeneration, and that the majority of residents opposed the developments of Elms Field in particular. She promised that at the recent elections, residents would make us pay for these plans. Well, these elections have come and gone, and the net result was totally the reverse of what she predicted. Much has been made by her of the success in the Embrook election, but even taking this into consideration, our share of the popular vote, just in Rockingham Town, stood at 42%, which was nearly double that of her party at 27%. If you exclude Embrook, it is even more emphatic. Across the borough, where she predicted problems due to the developing strategic development locations, a similar pattern emerged, with our share being 44% and her party 22%, exactly double. A great amount of noise has been created by the party opposite about this administration not having legitimacy to carry out these large projects, like the SDLs and town centre regeneration. Well, the public has spoken through the ballot box. They knew what we stood for, they knew what Councillor Bray and our colleagues stood for, and they chose our way by a factor of 2 to 1. This does not mean we ignore those who did not vote for us, as they also deserve a voice. To this end, we will redouble our efforts to engage and communicate with them. Finally, I'd like to turn to Councillor Bray's final comments in her speech last year. It's always interesting to look back at what we all say. She used lovely soundbites like "we can work together," but unfortunately that was exactly what they were, soundbites. When late last year I asked her colleague, Councillor Shepherd-Debay, to chair the Decriminalisation Working Party, her leader contacted me after she had chaired several meetings to say, and I quote, "This email is to let you know that we do not feel it is appropriate for a Liberal Democrat councillor to be chairing a working group." A soundbite. And I wonder what soundbites we'll have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bray, please.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and good evening to Keith. Congratulations, Madam Mayor, on continuing as Mayor. Welcome to Parry as Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Chris Singleton, for being Deputy Mayor last year. And I'd like to welcome all the new councillors and hope that they have an enjoyable time on the council. And also to regret that Sam is no longer here and to thank him for his service. This is a new municipal year. Council has a new leader. I don't think it's a secret that the outgoing leader, David Lee, and the Liberal Democrat group did not always see eye to eye. It may come as a surprise to some of you to discover that there was anything David and I agreed on, but there actually was, and that's the importance of decent, affordable housing, including council housing. And David is as passionate about that as we are. Indeed, I think the one thing you can say about David, however much we may have disagreed with him, he cannot be criticised for lacking passion. And slightly to my own surprise, I have to confess, I do wish him well in whatever role within the council he does now take up. Keith has taken over from David. It's a shame, but not a surprise, that he's chosen to start on a political note. With regard to the SRAs, Keith, with which you're challenging me, a number of times I've stood up in this council chamber and proposed a 5% cut in the SRAs, which has not been voted for by the majority group, and every time I've proposed it, I have personally taken it. So if the Independent Remuneration Committee brings a report at a future council meeting, which I expect them to do, and it proposes a 10% cut, and if that is what you stand up and propose, we will join you in that, provided that your colleagues follow that. I am the only person, apart from planning committee members, who receives an SRA in our group. I won't take it personally, however. It is going to take Keith a little time before he has a chance to shape his new administration. I'm sorry about this microphone, it's not brilliant. We are prepared to engage constructively with him and his colleagues, but we will also be scrutinising them just as closely as we've scrutinised the activities of the previous administration. We will hold them to account on service delivery and the spending of public money, just as firmly as we have held David to account. And we will continue to stand up for communities across the borough, including on the issue of Woking Town Centre regeneration and building on Melons Field. As I said, this is a new municipal year. As well as Woking Town Centre, there are many other challenges ahead of the administration. Squaring the funding circle, major new housing development, the need for new schools, including the school in the south, which we've already heard about this evening, new roads, new community facilities, the implications of the forthcoming changes to adult social care, and at the same time, the need to ensure decent quality bread and butter services like grass cutting and rubbish collection, and indeed pop-up food. Capacity within the council, strategy, direction and governance all require attention. I think we can remember the political slogan that when things can only get better. I have a feeling that with what's going on nationally and the funding situation that we're in local government, it may be the case that things can only get worse. I wish all of us, whatever our political allegiance or our role in the council, the very best for the coming year.
Thank you very much. We're now moving on to the political balance report, and I wish to inform you that a revised report has been tabled. May I have a proposal, please? Councillor Baker.
I'm just willing to propose.
Do you have a second? Councillor Stanton. Do you wish to speak?
No, Madam.
Councillor Stanton?
No, thank you.
No? Does anybody else want to speak? Okay. I'm sorry.
Madam Mayor, unfortunately it's necessary to move an amendment to this report as it stands. If you turn to the, I think it's Salmon page 3, under Planning Committee, you'll see that for the group of 3 there is a vacancy, as they have refused to take up any positions on this committee. It is therefore necessary to move an amendment to rectify this unacceptable position that the group have left us in. And so I move the amendment that's tabled on the blue piece of paper, which is about to be circulated. While it's being circulated, I will highlight what's going to be coming before you. We need to move an amendment in accordance with the provisions of Section 17 of the Local Government and Housing Act 1989, which must be unanimously supported by the members present, to disapply the proportional rules in relation to the membership of the Planning Committee for this municipal year, so that another councillor can take up the responsibilities of the independents and Labour councillors who refuse to take on those responsibilities. And that we should agree that Rachel Shepherd-Dubé, who has kindly served on the Planning Committee in the past, be put forward again for this municipal year. And I call upon, well, you call upon in a second.
Right. All those in favour, please. Oh, you haven't received one. Yes. Councillor Bray.
to second that amendment.
Have you all received your blue papers? You need time to read it? Are you all ready to vote? Okay. All those in favour, please. Anyone against? Any abstentions? It is carried. The next thing we want us to do is to appoint the chairman and vice chairman of the council committees. And I will take the nominations for all the appointments on block. So please refer to your lilac sheet, Appendix 2. All those in favour, please. Anyone against? Any abstentions? It is carried. Appointment to panels and working groups. Please refer to your green sheet, Appendix 3. I intend to agree the nominations for all the appointments on block, and it only requires separate votes on those where more than one nomination has been received. The adoption panel.
Okay, so there are two nominations for the adoption panel. Can I see a show of hands for Councillor Haynes? Kate. And for Councillor Hayward? Councillor Haynes.
Thank you.
And secondly, for the fostering panel, firstly, show of hands for Councillor Pitts. And for Councillor Hayward. And Councillor Pitts is elected. And then can I ask for show of hands in favour of all of the other nominations as listed in the green sheets? Any votes against? Abstention? Next carried.
Appointments of outside bodies. Please refer to your yellow sheets. And again, I will read the nominations for all the appointments on block. So, all those in favour, please. Anyone against? Any abstentions? It is carried. Well, that concludes the annual council meeting. And I thank you everyone. And I'll see you next door.